What's up, everybody? My name is Nozvele Kamganamayaba. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, please make sure that you subscribe and join the rest of the family. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. Guys, can I just be vulnerable for a few minutes? Just want to share some of the things that have happened, some of the most uncomfortable conversations that I've had, in particular with my medical practitioner. I don't want to lie, this journey has been such a blessing, but also it has been overwhelming at times. And in those overwhelming instances, I think it hit us, unexpectedly. And it just came out of the blue. We were not prepared for it. I don't think we were prepared for it. So I just wanted to talk today about, birthing options when you are someone that is living with HIV, particularly for women that are pregnant, and also, feeding options for the baby. Okay, so before, I'd always shared different aspects of a person living with HIV, in particular as a woman. If you want to conceive, how do you make sure that you have a healthy pregnancy? You give birth to an HIV negative child, and when the child is born, what do you do to make sure that the child continues to be safe, in this case to be HIV negative, né? So we've covered the first part in terms of how we conceived, and now I just want to focus on the birthing options, because obviously that is what we're preparing for, and also after the child has been born, what options do we take in terms of feeding the child. So I've done my own research. I've looked at different policies, World Health Organization, our South African policies. I've spoken to a number of medical practitioners. I've spoken to women that have, traveled this journey. And everyone is given a choice. Let's just make that clear. Everyone is given a choice in terms of what would you like to do, but also weighing the risks, in every choice, and making sure that you are making a decision that is informed. Ne? So when it comes to birthing options, either you choose a natural birth or a C-section. Ne? When it comes to natural birth, actually on both instances, it is very important that the mother is on treatment throughout the pregnancy, and obviously just umdu that is living with HIV is on treatment. The treatment helps to suppress the viral load, to make sure that it minimizes the level of the virus inside your body, and also it increases the CD4 count, the number of white blood cells that are fighting, for you and fighting off infections and making sure that you stay healthy. So it is very important that as a pregnant mom, you continue to have a suppressed viral load, you continue to have an undetectable viral load, you continue to be undetectable, ne? Because it minimizes now the risk of the baby being infected at birth. Ne? So if you have an undetectable viral load, it means that the chances of you infecting the child have been minimized and it is safe. You can have your natural birth option, or you can still choose a C-section. It depends on you, it's fine. Then when it comes to breastfeeding also, you need to make sure that you continue with the treatment. So as soon as umdana is born, as soon as the child is born, they're given their own medication. It's called nevirapine for 6 weeks. They're on that medication to further protect them from being infected. They are continuously tested as well to make sure that they're HIV negative. Ne? In that instant, when you continue with the medication, you can breastfeed. Ne? Chances of the baby getting a virus in that instant have been very much minimized. It's less than 1% according to research. Ne? Okay, then what you do now, you need to make sure that you do not mix feed. So if you choose to breastfeed, you only need to exclusively breastfeed. If you are choosing a formula, when you formula from Danako, that's also very much fine, but you can't mix feed. You can't do formula, you can't do and breastfeeding at the same time, and then also giving them food and giving them water, because at this point in time, their immune system has not developed that strong to handle so many different things. So you only exclusively need to either breastfeed or choose a formula. Ne? And I worked for an NGO for a number of years, and we encourage breastfeeding. in condition that you're on medication, your viral load is suppressed, you're only exclusively breastfeeding. We actually advocated that it's more healthy to do it that way. I know a number of people that have have done it breastfeeding. I know a number of people that have gone with the breastfeeding. I know. Okay, now I've given you I've painted a picture. Okay, so now we're pregnant. Then we start with our consultations. Ne? Now we go ahead, everything is still fine. Although to some degree, I guess I needed to understand, when you're in that field as a medical practitioner, you tend to, you are used to your work. And I feel like there's a level of like assumptions that they have. But no, you're supposed to know this. No, you're supposed to know that. I remember we walked in the other day, and they were like, "Oh, have you registered on so and so an app? Because it's very important before you give birth and all of those things, but also for your benefits." And we're like, "We didn't know that we needed to register. Like, what are you talking about, right?" So that was one thing, and then we started talking very randomly, guys. Very randomly about like birthing options. Now in my mind, I had already prepared myself that I'm only going to do natural birth. I already decided that I'm going to do a C-section. I'm not going to do like natural birth. Now please guys, if you're watching this video, respectfully, please don't tell me otherwise. Okay, I've already had enough people doing that. I don't need it. Like, please, I'm begging you. If you have chosen a natural birth over C-section for your own personal reason, I respect that. Please also respect my own decision, okay? I felt like I know my pain threshold. I do not need to prove that I'm a fit mom or anything like that by choosing a natural birth. I want a C-section, okay? That's the one I wanted. So we're talking about birthing options very randomly with this medical practitioner, and I was like, oh no, I cannot do natural birth. I will not be able to stand the pain. Like, I cannot. And there's so many things also with natural birth. You're preparing for a natural birth and then they say the baby's tired, your blood pressure is up, and all of those things, and then you end up actually doing a C-section, because a number of people have done that. They were prepared for a natural birth and then they ended up doing a C-section. So I'm like, I might as well just do C-section. I cannot. And then the medical practitioner is like, well, it's not like you had a choice. Like, you were gonna do C-section whether you liked it or not. I'm like, it really took me back. I'm like, Aibo, what do you mean I didn't have a choice? I have a suppressed viral load, and I know for a fact that I can naturally give birth if I wanted to. It's just that I choose to have a C-section. And he's like, no, you can't risk your baby like that. The C-section is much safer because it minimizes the risk of your child getting infected through birth. There's so many risks when it comes to natural Landuka birth. Why would you want to do that? Hey, I don't want to lie and comment. Okay, this now has it's taking me back. I think it's a matter of mine. I'm not given a choice. It's that really bugged me. But no, you didn't have a choice actually. Because you are HIV positive, then you can only do a C-section. And I know for a fact that is not true. Okay, we passed that one. And I guess I was like, okay, it's fine. Although I don't appreciate the tone and the kind of approach that is being used. But because I'd already prepared myself for a C-section, it's fine, I can let it go. So that was one. Then the following Landuka appointment, we're now talking about feeding. Feeding the child after birth. What options do I want to choose? And again, we already received a call, from our medical aid, talking about, listen, as soon as your birth date, please tell us, because we just need to organize medication for Umdana, and also we are going to be providing a formula if you choose to do formula every month. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I didn't realize that was even a benefit. Fantastic. So I think we're having that conversation actually. Like, oh, my medical aid called, let us know when is the due date and all of those things so that we make sure that we prepare. And they said that, if I want formula, they also provide formula, but I think I want to breastfeed. That is the one thing I don't want to lie that I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to the breastfeeding. I was looking forward to the bond of having, my child breastfeed. I don't want to know. That was one thing I was looking for. Then, as again, we're having the same conversation in terms of why would you want to risk the child getting infected? No? Why? Because, you have the means and the resources. Even now, the medical aid is saying they will be providing formula. So the resources are there. So why would you want to breastfeed and risk your child getting infected through breastfeeding? And in any case, some moms don't produce enough milk, so you can't avoid not mixed feeding, and mixed feeding is going to hurt the baby. And with the C-section, sometimes the mothers are not able to breastfeed, so we give them the formula as soon as they're born. So it doesn't matter. Like in this case, the easiest thing is for you to do a formula. That's what we advise a woman that are living with HIV. Once again, I'm not given a choice. I feel like I'm not given a choice. The approach that has been used, I know I'm probably overreading it. Ingathi ngoku into yami yoba HIV positive, it's such an inconvenience for my child. Like it's very much of an inconvenience for my child. And then the other thing, I think that took me back, is that my husband was there in the consultation room. Now a lot of things are running through my mind. Naturally, as a father of the child, Usku is going to want to do everything to protect the child. That's what he's going to want. So if Ugriha, who has a medical, a degree, who is experienced for 20, 30 plus years, is saying, I need to have a C-section, I can't breastfeed, I need to do formula so that we protect the child, that's what he's going to naturally advise. And now, I feel like now, I can't argue against, because everything that I'm arguing against is based on, I've heard from so-and-so, this is what I've read. The World Health Organization actually does recommend breastfeeding. The government of South Africa recommends breastfeeding. It's not based on Zotini qualification. You can't compare. You can't compare what I have, the knowledge I have, based on like a medical practitioner who's very much more experienced than I am. So I need to listen to what this guy says, because if I don't, and if something happens, because if something happens, then they would have told me, but I did not listen. So do I actually want to take the risk of doing these things against the doctor's orders, give birth naturally, also breastfeed just to prove a point? I don't know. And so I started speaking to other doctors, to other guys that are in the field, to other HIV specialists, and the approach was more friendly, but it was also more open. It was more about just weigh the risk. It's all about weighing the risk, and it's also providing you with the options, not deciding on your behalf. It's the approach that was used. I remember this other doctor friend of mine, it's inappropriate, bad manners for a doctor to use that approach. It was supposed to be, okay, listen, in C-section is much quicker. It is, convenient, where there are less risk with C-section than in virginal or natural birth. With natural birth, you can still go for natural birth and still have a healthy baby, but you also need to weigh the risk. So, you have options, not decide on your behalf. Similar to the breastfeeding one, you don't tell me, Bana, I'm putting my baby at risk. Why would I want to do that? I have the resources and the means to provide the formula, so why would I want to breastfeed? Like, I remember even at one point I was making the argument, Okay, but then if there's a risk with breastfeeding and more than formula, then why would probably 60% or 70% of moms that give birth in public hospitals and so forth it is recommended for them to breastfeed? Ultimately, no, the government, it's cheaper for them to encourage these moms to breastfeed so that they don't provide the formula. Hey, anyway, so it's just not been a very pleasant experience to some degree. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I did not like it. It made me overthink like a number of things. And you know, I'm easy. You know, I've been on this journey for a number of years. I've gotten past like a number of things. And then just when you get there, and then you're faced with something else. And now I can't think only for myself. I need to think also about the well-being of my child. I don't like it. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, guys. We'll see, man. We're still consulting and we are still weighing our options, and we'll take it from there. But I know that there's a lot of medical practitioners, people in the field that do watch my videos. I would appreciate if you would also just comment from your own experience in terms of what you've seen, you know, in on the ground. What options have you given women that are living with HIV that are expecting? If you are someone that is expecting, that is living with HIV, have you had this conversation with your doctor or your nurse? If you are someone that has, you know, given birth already or has gone through this experience, what was your, how did this conversation go? Were you given an option when it comes to giving birth? Or did they just say, no, natural birth or C-section? Did they give you a choice? And even when it comes to breastfeeding, did you feel like you had a choice? I would love to hear that. We just need to bring more awareness, man, guys, because we can't have this. We can't have this. And it's not even because I know people sometimes they talk about these experiences when it comes to public hospitals. So it's shocking that I'm having this kind of conversation with a private doctor. It's shocking. It's really shocking and disappointing to some degree. But anyway, I'll be okay. We'll be fine. We're growing. We're happy. We're glowing. Okay. I just wanted to share this and just pour my heart out for a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.